I get these comments all the time that EVs really are more polluting because, you dug some big hole in the Congo, or it takes 1 to 2 years for an EV to be cleaner than a gas car. That's not very long in the life of a car.
I posted a story about a guy driving a Rivian who said, I'm just going to do an experiment here. I'm going to reduce my speed from 65 to 60 miles per hour and see what that does to my miles per kilowatt efficiency.
I bet it was huge.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News, and I'm back today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going today, Bill?
Doing well, thank you.
So, what this ICCT study ends debate: EVs drastically cleaner than gas cars. I get these comments all the time that EVs really are more polluting because you dug some big hole in the Congo or some big hole in China and you polluted and all these things. And it's really funny to see this, and the deficit of EVs, they're clearly now. Once again, this was a European study, right?
This was a European study, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's clearly showing that it takes 1 to 2 years for an EV to be cleaner than a gas car. That's not very long in the life of a car.
Not very long at all.
And ultimately, it's 66 to 69% lower life cycle emissions. And that's because almost all of those emissions have to do with the actual mining
and refining of the material.
Mining and refining. And that's going to change over time, because over time, not only are the batteries repurposed, but later on they'll be recycled. If that's even the ongoing technology, 20 years from now.
Right.
The battery technology, we constantly seeing it evolve, and we see new ideas, these game-changing ideas. The Toyota 745-mile solid-state battery, which why? I mean, if it's a third the weight or half the weight of a regular battery, that makes a difference, but it would make more sense.
Let me share something of interest with you. So there's an article I posted today in the RS stream where the guy has driven a Lucid, right? I think it was probably a Gravity, or maybe it was a Lucid Air, one of the Lucid models, down the New Jersey Turnpike, and he said, and I think he said it was 4.2 or something like that miles per kilowatt hour, right? And I think he said it worked out to be 158.6 or something like that miles per gallon equivalent, right? And I just over the weekend I charged up the Bolt, and then did some running around with shopping and going over and working on the airplane and thing. And so I'm at 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour. So I asked the AI, what's that equivalent to in miles per gallon equivalent, right? 200 miles per gallon equivalent. And I have a 66 kilowatt hour battery. How many miles now can I drive on a full charge? Over 300 miles. In fact, 346, I think it was 346 miles on a 2022 Chevrolet Bolt.
Yeah, but this means you have to drive like Bill Moore.
Well, you have to drive like Bill Moore driving around Papillion and Omaha, Nebraska. That's not from here to Kansas City or Denver or Des Moines or Minneapolis or Chicago, right? Where you're having to drive 75 just to keep getting run over by everybody else.
I'm just saying your speeds, you probably average in the 35-40 range most of the time, which is probably the real sweet spot for an EV. Whereas for a gas car, what's that sweet spot? I think it's right at 55, which was why we used to have the 55 mile per hour speed limits all the time.
Which is interesting because, again, this morning I posted a story about a guy driving a Rivian who said, I'm just going to do an experiment here. I'm going to reduce my speed from 65 to 60 miles per hour and see what that does to my kilowatt, miles per kilowatt efficiency.
I bet it was huge.
Well, interestingly, he only picked up half a mile, 0.5 miles per kilowatt improvement. But still,
Yeah, but that's like a 15% improvement.
yeah.
That's a pretty big increase just for that, because the Rivian is, looks much like a Range Rover.
Oh yeah, it's just a big blot.
Yeah, it's not aerodynamic. It's not trying to, set up any, it's not like the Aptera that's trying to see if it can be the most air efficient car.
Or Lucid, which is probably the most efficient among the luxury EVs in the market.
But anyways, one of the things was we keep hearing this about how EVs aren't as green as people say. Well, yeah, they're not completely zero emissions if you count the production of the vehicle, but over the lifetime of the vehicle, it has about a third of what the gas car does.
Well, exactly. And we're not saying anything at this point about the huge holes in the ground that it takes to pull iron. I mean, the amount of iron that the world uses is dwarfs anything that would be pulled out to make an EV battery. I mean, that's iron. Then you talk about all the orphan oil wells and natural gas wells that are plugged or not plugged, where they've sucked the oil up out of the ground.
The clip you just saw was part of our live podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't miss out. Join us every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on EV World News. We stream not just on YouTube, but also on Facebook and X, so you can catch us wherever you prefer. If you found this content valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share to help us grow. If you'd like to support our work, please consider becoming a YouTube member. It really helps us bring you the latest EV news and insights. I'll see you in the next one.